What do you do for work, sir?
Internal Revenue Service.
Internal Revenue Service. Fuck you, man.
I won't audit you. I'll make sure you're good.
Oh yeah, please don't audit. Hold on, don't audit me, man. Can I ask you a question for real?
Yeah.
Where does my money go? What do you do for work, sir?
Internal Revenue Service.
Internal Revenue Service. Fuck you, man.
I won't audit you. I'll make sure you're good.
Oh yeah, please don't audit. Hold on, don't audit me, man. Can I ask you a question for real?
Yeah.
Where does my money go? Man, I'm telling you, I've been writing you money recently. Where does it go? Tell me.
Here, you paid for that, basically.
Okay, but it's not federal. I don't pay for that. Hold on. So I'm paying for motherfuckers to get on a train in motherfucking South Carolina? I'm gonna move to China. Damn, how did you get into that, man? Are you just like a narc?
I don't like the government.
You don't like the government, but you work for the government. Okay, cool. That's a good system. What the fuck? Every day, this place! January 6th was correct! You look like you were in there, dog. Where's Nancy Pelosi's desk? Do you have a significant other?
Yes, I do, actually.
And what does she or he do?
She's a teacher.
She's a teacher. Okay.
She also does only.
She also does only. See, I would be okay with my tax money going to that.
The biggest scam on planet Earth is a job. Because think about it, you work for 40 years, 8 hours a day, and after 40 years, you are still broke. How is that not a scam?
Iranian lawmakers chanting death to America. That is clearly how they feel, or certainly the way that they are expressing themselves.
If inflation isn't theft, then why can't people counterfeit money?
If they can just print money, why do we pay taxes?
Wow.
If inflation is not theft and we can just print money and we don't have enough money, we can just print more money and give everyone that doesn't have enough money.
¿Y por cuánto tiempo han estado quedándose aquí en el Rojo Hotel?
Desde que yo llegué, julio,
¿Cuántos meses es eso?
como 7 meses.
¿Y han tenido que pagar alojamiento?
No, nada, no he pagado nada.
¿Es 100% gratis?
Sí.
¿Y le dan almuerzo, desayuno?
Sí, sí, le dan cosas del niño, personales, nos dan pañales, lo que necesiten ellos.
¿Y ahí en el hotel hacen limpieza de las cuartos?
Sí, hacen. Sí, todos los días hacen limpieza, cambian las sábanas, hacen aseo.
¿Todos los días hacen eso?
Sí, todos los días.
¿Han podido conseguir trabajo ustedes?
No. Yo no.
Si ustedes tuvieran un problema de medicina, ¿cómo podrían recibir ayuda con eso?
Bueno, con una tarjeta, la del seguro de Medicare. Y nosotros tenemos la MetroPlus y eso nos abarca el seguro que nosotros necesitamos para los niños y también nosotros nos beneficiamos de eso.
¿Se sintieron apoyados gracias a nuestro presidente Joe Biden?
Bueno, sí, porque si no estamos trabajando ni nada, él es el que nos está ayudando prácticamente.
Despite the rockets, Ukraine's nightlife is rocking. The bars and clubs are full. The place is jumping, music pumping, drinks flow freely, and they dance like there's no tomorrow. And it's not just here. Fun fact, there are now more bars and restaurants in the capital than before the start of the invasion.
Hello guys, Olga with you today, and now in this video I want to tell you about night Kiev after 9 p.m. because people used to think that in Ukraine, people here during the war so much scared of all the things, sitting at home, probably have no enjoyment in this life during the last 2 years. So let us just walk on the street of Kiev and see what's happening.
For real? Where does my money go? Where does it go? Tell me.
So Mike Johnson, a conservative Republican, worked with other conservative Republicans and Democrats to pass a $95 billion foreign aid package. Money going to Ukraine, going to Taiwan, and going to Israel. Not Americans, because that's why it's called a foreign aid package. But you see how they work together to get that shit done for other countries? But they don't carry that same energy for the American people. Did you see that? But you want to know how bad this foreign aid package is? The President of the United States, Joe Biden, called Mike Johnson and congratulated him on passing it. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. When somebody you don't like calls you to congratulate you on something you did, you just walked into their trap. You just did exactly what they were hoping you do. You know, the American people are sick and tired of sending our tax-paying dollars over to other countries. We're sick and tired of all these corrupt politicians who get paid by the American taxpayers. We get tired of you guys then getting our money we send you guys over to other countries when we got still problems with homelessness, with our southern border still being wide the fuck open. I mean, let's call a spade here. You got one governor, Greg Abbott, here in Texas, trying to secure the southern border, stop the influx of child trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking, so on and so forth. And then you got this administration suing Governor Greg Abbott. Wait, what? And we still have all the other problems with immigration reform, Social Security, so on and so forth. But y'all can't come together to figure any of that shit out. But yet you can come together to send our fucking money over to all these other countries. Do I got that right? You see, this is what the American people are sick and tired of. That fuck shit. I said what the fuck I said.
All right, so let me get this straight. Congress passes another bill to send $60 billion to Ukraine and then waves Ukrainian flags on the House floor. Zero to our border. And for the past couple of weeks, Iran and Israel have been trading shots back and forth with each other. Yeah, and we just sent $8 billion to Israel. And the Bitcoin halving comes and goes, making its inflation rate lower than gold's. Tik-Tok next block. And a man is dead after he lights himself on fire in front of the courthouse for Donald Trump's trial. Yeah, I got nothing. And in Texas, the largest egg producer in the U.S. halts production after a bird flu outbreak. Here we go again. And some soccer games in New York were canceled because illegal migrants refused to leave the field of play. Zero to our border. And Representative Jerry Connolly says that the Ukrainian border is our border. Zero to our border. And on top of all this, Hillary Clinton claims that Donald Trump wants to kill and imprison his opposition. Pot, meat kettle.
And our military and our government should care about protecting the national security of the United States of America and the Americans that pay their hard-earned tax dollars to fund all of this. America last. America last. That's all this is. The United States taxpayer has already sent $113 billion to Ukraine. And a lot of that money is unaccounted for. This is a continuance of a sick business model that the American government continues. The federal government continues to fund the military-industrial complex, and this is a business model that requires Congress to continue to vote for money, to continue to fund foreign wars, and this is a business model the American people do not support. They don't support a business model built on blood and murder and war in foreign countries, while this very government does nothing to secure our border. The American people are over $34 trillion in debt, and the debt is rising by over $40 billion every single night while we all sleep. But yet nothing is done to secure our border or reduce our debt. Inflation has driven out of control. Americans are suffering every single day. They can hardly afford their grocery bills. They can hardly afford gas in their car. They can hardly afford rent. And now mortgage payments are well over $3,000, where they were only just over $1,700 3 years ago. The youngest generation, young adults, don't even think they're going to be able to buy a home in their lifetime. And today in Congress, the most important thing that this body thinks should be done is to send another $61 billion to a war in Ukraine that the American people by 70% do not support. Mind you, this comes on the very heels of tax day, where every single American had to scrounge up their money and send their dollars in to the IRS. Or some of them had to file extensions because they weren't ready and didn't have the money to pay their taxes. But today, this body says the most important thing we can do, no, is not reduce spending. That's not it. Not to do anything to drive down inflation. Oh no, we can't do that for the American people. It's not to secure our own border that is invaded every single day, by people from over 160 different countries. No, don't secure the American border. Let everyone in. We have over 1.8 million known gotaways. We don't know who these people are. And yet you have members of this body talking big and tough about, oh, we have to defeat Russia. Oh, we have to protect Ukraine. But yet all of you are unwilling to protect the American citizens that pay your paycheck, pay the light bills in this building, and pay for this entire federal government. For what? For nothing. Ukraine is not even a member of NATO. Ukraine is not a member of NATO. But the most important thing you hear in Washington, D.C. is, oh, we have to spend Americans' hard-earned tax dollars over to Ukraine and keep the money going to continue to murder Ukrainians, wipe out an entire generation of Ukrainian men so that there are widows, there are fatherless orphans, there are not enough men to work in their industries. Oh, but you really support Ukraine. Wow, what kind of support is that? It's repulsive. You know, shame on the American government. Shame on the American government. If we support our military, support our military. We should be funding to build up our weapons and ammunition, not to send it over to foreign countries to kill foreign peoples. And if this body was worth what it claims to be what it is, every single one of us would be demanding peace in Ukraine between these countries, peace for these people, so that no more of them have to die. But you never hear anybody demanding peace. No, 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 no. Peace is the last thing Washington wants because it doesn't fit the business model. This is a business model that they say continues our economy, protects American jobs. What a disgusting business model. We should have a business model that builds up our American companies and American jobs to serve American interests, and our military and our government should care about protecting the national security of the United States of America and the Americans that pay their hard-earned tax dollars to fund all of this. America last. America last. That's all this is. Every single day, America last.
Income tax is not constitutional. Watch this video and you'll see what I mean.
There is no law, and to date, nobody has been able to show that there is a law for the average American citizen working day in and day out to pay an income tax.
But We the People Foundation for Constitutional Education put a full-page ad in the USA Today on July 7th, 2000. And within the body of that ad was a $50,000 challenge for anyone that could show the law. And to me, $50,000 is a lot of money. So I went after that and did the research based on the fact that I thought, let's put this baby to bed. I'm hearing all these rumors. You know, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'll answer these people's questions that are asking me, and then I'll win this $50,000. And, you know, based on the research that I did throughout the year 2000 and that I'm still doing, I have not found that law. I've asked Congress. We've asked a lot of people in the IRS commissioners, helpers. They can't answer, because if they answer, the American people are going to know that this whole thing is a fraud.
There is no law. There is no law that requires the average American worker in the private sector to pay a direct unapportioned tax on their labor and compensation for services. There is no law.
I really expected that, of course there's a law that you can point to in the law book, the code that requires you to file a tax return. Of course there is. Maybe I don't know what it is right then as he was speaking to me, but sure. So naively, I agreed to go off and research it and get back to him. 3.5 months later, I was at that point where I couldn't find the statute that clearly made a person liable, at least not me and most people I know. And I had no choice in my mind except to resign.
I had to leave the IRS because I presented evidence that I had accumulated indicating that the agency was violating the law and violating people's rights. And I asked the agency for a response to my sincere concerns. And the answer I got was that they would not respond to my concerns and that they would provide me with the paperwork necessary to tender my resignation.
You can look through the statutes and look for the law that requires you to pay. And when you do that, you can't identify a law that requires the average person in America who earns a wage and works in private business to pay an income tax.
American citizens, along with the foundation, have been asking the IRS to specifically provide them with the underlying legal foundation upon which they administer and enforce the personal income tax laws in our country.
At the national level, when people would attempt to contact somebody of a much higher authority, say the commissioner, same kind of thing. They would get answers that were in effect non-answers.
You have to understand that an agency which will unlawfully impose a tax that doesn't exist is not going to care. If we, the people, don't know what our rights are, they're not going to tell us.
If Americans just learned that the IRS was actually knowingly deceiving them, that would be enough for them to rise up and put a stop to it.
100% of what is collected is absorbed solely by interest on the federal debt. All individual income tax revenues are gone before 1 nickel is spent on the services taxpayers expect from government. People have been told, that you need this income tax system to fund government, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, my question is, well, if that's true, how did we fund government from 1776 to 1913?
The main purpose of the income tax is not to raise revenue, but to redistribute wealth and to control society.
A lot of people might say, well, gee, if there wasn't an income tax, what would happen to education? They don't understand that education is paid for the most part, out of state and local taxes, your property tax. People might say, well, how are we going to build and maintain our highways? If there's no money coming into the government, we need our highways. There is a tax on every gallon of gasoline that people buy. Proceeds from the income tax do not pay for highway construction.
I believe that in both spirit and substance, our tax system has come to be un-American. Death and taxes may be inevitable, but unjust taxes are not.
This small booklet includes the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. This is a document that every citizen should read. It's a document which freed an entire nation. This is the Internal Revenue Code, and this document, and the unlawful application of this document by the Internal Revenue Service has enslaved the nation that this document attempted to free.
So look, at the end of the day, right, we go to work, we put in our blood, sweat, and tears, whatever your job is. Some people are blue-collar workers, some people sit behind a desk, so on and so forth, whatever. You put in your time, you earn a paycheck, and when you earn that paycheck, you have to pay into taxes, right? There's an income tax. You pay your taxes on the money you've earned, and then when you go out to these stores and you go and buy shoes and whatever the case might be, whatever you buy, groceries, you pay a sales tax. Here in India, I believe it's like 8.6%. When I go and, file my taxes, federal and state, I have to pay property tax for the house that I live in. Everything is being taxed. Roads are paid for by gas tax. Well, guess what? Nowadays, there's 20% of drivers out on the road here in California are electric vehicle drivers. So now they want to figure out how they can tax you for, since they can't tax you on gas, they got to figure out how to tax you so what way you can pay into the roads, right? I mean, there's a tax for everything. And that's another thing about my family in the Philippines. They don't understand that we don't just earn money here in the United States. We have to go through so much just to keep our money. So when I cannot bring you an iPhone 14 Pro Max because I don't have that kind of money, you don't understand that there's so much that goes into me making money here in the United States. Things are a lot more expensive, and then on top of that, you get taxed for everything. Anyway, it's your boy King Churro. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little something. Remember that you're loved, and remember to be great every day because tomorrow is never promised. Peace out, y'all.
Every day you wake up, you got a decision to make. To go right or left, up or down, right or wrong. At the end of the day, you make the decision. Nobody forces you. So make the right decision. Make moves, set the goals. Stop making excuses, man. And if it look like a duck, walk like a duck, and sound like a duck, it's a duck. Stop guessing. Just do the right thing. You heard? You hear me? I love y'all. Stay positive. Love one another.
All right. I don't trust government, Jenk.
Whether it's a Democrat in charge or a Republican in charge, I don't trust government. So in that analysis that we did and talked about, one of the tax breaks that came with Trump's tax cuts for the rich, if he extends it, it would lead to $700 billion in lost revenue for the federal government. So what? So what? What does the federal government do with our money? $700 billion for what? For more aid to other countries in the form of weaponry? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Which is basically just redistributing our money from taxpayers to weapons contractors and defense contractors.
Yeah, so
it bothers me. I can't sit here and talk about like, oh, the federal government needs more revenue when I've seen what they do with our revenue, James.
And this is what happens when you start using common sense.